also like to add that Carl Nelson also investigated with the bus company if there would be any problems if we did not switch. And Carl did discover that no problems would occur if we kept the AM session in the AM session for this school year. Is there anything that I missed?
Nope.
So we'll have to take a vote on that in December, obviously, because when do they switch, in January?
They switch at the end of January.
So he's still in the process of gathering the information from the parents?
He'll have it by this Wednesday, but he didn't have it by
Okay.
tonight, so
So we
I
can
just
vote on
wanted
it
you to
December
know.
6th.
Yes.
Sounds
I wanted to bring that forward.
reasonable to
My
me.
child's in that kindergarten.
Yeah, it
section.
sounds reasonable.
You
If you
can't
don't
vote.
Yeah.
Extension.
Yeah. It sounds reasonable if there's no afternoon to switch with, and everybody's happy with keeping it in the morning, but we'll have to, makes sense to me.
But there are some other added benefits too,
Right.
to the programming
Right.
of
Staffing,
that
right.
particular kindergarten session.
Okay,
So that's a heads up for you.
great.
Thank you.
Bills and payroll, I think we're done. Minutes. I went over both of them, and I found, what do we have, we have the regular meeting on November 8th, and we have executive session for November 8th. I found nothing out of place. Can you believe that?
Yes,
You
I
scared me
can.
there for a minute.
I can believe that because we have Cindy.
Cindy, I found nothing wrong. I did a full review with a magnifying glass.
I move that we accept the minutes of the regular session, November 8th.
Can I have a second, please?
Second.
Can
Further
I
discussion? Yeah.
add something too? I don't know if Anne let y'all know, but she had done some research with, was it Mike Gilbert's office or something? That when there are amendments now, that the posted amendment on the school site is going to be amended, so that the current one, they don't have to wait a week, 2 weeks to find out any amendments.
Oh, I see, okay.
So.
So they'll
for
put the
instance-
original ones up, and then they'll put the amendments up after
No,
it? Oh,
no, the one that is going to be posted will have the amendments
Oh,
on
okay.
it, and it'll be noted,
Amended.
amended,
okay,
yeah.
all right.
Interesting.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second for acceptance of the November 8th regular session meetings. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. And then we have the executive session also from November 8th, and that was an executive session to discuss strategy with respect to litigation and collective bargaining with teachers and administrators.
Move to accept the executive session of November 8th.
Second.
Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I don't think I was there.
No,
now,
Jerry
so
was
I
not
recuse
there, so
myself.
abstention for Jerry. 401. We don't, the FY11 budget update, Carl, was basically what we just discussed regarding special education costs,
Yes.
correct? Okay. And staffing also was covered in that.
Yes, thank you.
Bids and donations, we do have a bid, donation, very generous donation, totals almost, $1,400, more than $1,400, almost $1,500 from the, athletic boosters, North Reading High School. We have, new warm-up jerseys for the boys' basketball team, new concussion prevention hockey helmet, and 3 concussion prevention football helmets. We actually had this described to us the other day as, these are helmets that will be used by players who've had concussions during the season who are cleared to come back and play. And they're special helmets that add significantly more protection. Of course, my question is, we should probably have these on all the kids, and maybe there won't be as many concussions, but
They're $250 a piece.
they're $250 a piece. The football helmets and the hockey helmet is $195, so.
What's a head worth?
Exactly. What's a head worth?
Depends on
Probably
whose head is it.
$300, but I mean, we
Right.
still have,
So this is a very generous donation. We were made aware of it at the athletic subcommittee meeting last week, and I'd like a motion
I will
to
make a
accept with
motion.
gratitude.
I would like to make a motion to accept the $1,470 donation from the North Reading High School Athletic Boosters
With-
with gratitude.
Thank you.
Second.
Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. I'd like to see one of those. Have you seen one of them?
Can I have a follow-up question on that?
Sure.
Are there any plans on slowly migrating to those helmets?
I think that,
Since you guys are on the subcommittee.
we did discuss it briefly. I think given the,
Buying a few every year, you know.
I do think that that is part of the plan, given the cost. You're not gonna buy them all, but I think that that's one of the things they'd like to do is, I mean, do you,
Bought 5 a year or something,
Right.
maybe.
Yeah,
Right.
we could certainly bring that up, Mike, that's a
Right.
good point.
We'll bring it
We
up
can
the
talk to
next,
athletic director about
yeah.
it. These were actually, like, obviously donated.
Donated,
Right.
right.
But, yeah, that's a good point. I'm not sure how often they turn over the helmets, but I think there's probably some bought every year.
Yeah.
yeah, and most of that stuff is covered by the athletic fees. Of course, it wouldn't be, as Mike said, we wouldn't be able to buy full team's worth, but I think it's good.
Migrate slowly.
Yeah, we'll bring it up to the next athletic subcommittee.
Oh,
It's a good
helmets
point.
have an expiration date, so.
Do they?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So when we're replacing them, we could look at buying
Yep.
some of the
It
newer ones.
seemed to me, at the price of heads today,
Yes.
that it would make a lot of sense.
The person
Okay.
medical care.
Yes. Subcommittee reports. We have
Athletics.
Athletic Subcommittee, which I will start with, and I will, I'll say up front, I'll allow limited discussion of this tonight. We do plan on discussing this issue at the December 6th meeting. This is the Athletic Subcommittee report, which Mr. Venezia and I are members of. This has been an ongoing issue since, I believe, last March or April, related to banners at the Arthur Kenny Field. I'm not going to call it the turf field anymore. It's the Arthur J. Kenny Field. It is a turf field, however.
Sign was taken down today.
Right, and the new sign's going up tomorrow, I believe.
Tomorrow?
Yeah, I think, well, actually, that was a good point. A very generous donation, which we'll announce probably at our next meeting, but there'll be a new sign going up tomorrow, I believe, for the Arthur Kenny Field, replacing the current one, which you really can't see, and
And it was donated.
was donated, right?
Yeah.
So this issue has been going on for a while. The school committee has never taken a vote on it. We've had a whole array of opinions on it, but the members of the rec commission, 2 members of the rec commission,
Yes.
and the Marty Tilton from Parks and Rec Department, head of the Parks and Rec Department, presented the athletic subcommittee last week with their plan to place banners at the high school turf field, Arthur J. Kenny Field, to raise funds for various projects. Before I get into the specifics of their proposal, I'll tell you that they, and we'll have this next week for at our next meeting for the committee, they gave us a list of approximately $260,000 in projects that they would like to complete at the field, ranging from a 25-year maintenance plan for the lights, plus a remote control that would allow staff to turn lights on and off from their homes, from their computer, over the internet. Right now, they have a 2-year maintenance plan on the lights, and after 2 years, it's done. Perimeter fencing, some of which we've done. New lights for the practice field. One thing that I would love to see is track lighting only, which would be lower lights on the existing poles, which would allow residents to use the track till 9:30, 10 o'clock at night to walk on the track, and they'd go off at that time, whatever time they're set for. New concession stand, new storage building, et cetera. One of the other things, if you saw the paper this week, Parks and Rec is trying to do is they're selling bricks for brick walkways, they're selling benches, they're selling knee walls, they're selling, if you want to name the concession stand after somebody, I think it's $20,000. If you want to name the storage building after somebody, I think it was $20,000 or something like that. It was all in the paper. So they're trying to raise money also to help out. The other area of expenditure that's related to the field, and we knew about this going in, is after approximately 12 to 15 years, there's normally a recommendation that the carpet level of the field is replaced. That's the top layer. And the plan from Parks and Rec is to put approximately $20,000 a year in escrow, so to cover that cost when it comes around. And when you think about it, that's a small portion. The entire project was $2 million.
Well, that included everything.
Right, and that's a small portion
Yeah.
of the cost, but you figure it's going to be $250,000 to replace that carpet in 12 to 15 years. So that said, they came to us with a proposal proposal that has been unanimously approved by the Hillview Commission. And it's a trial proposal.
1 year.
1 year. They'd like to start on March 1st, 2011. To put a maximum of 35 banners on the front of the grandstands area. They say there's room for 50. They say they'll limit it to 35. There'll also be spaces allowed for nonprofit, and also spaces for school-related activities, banners to be placed on the grandstands.
Now, question, is there a proportion designated for nonprofit banners, or is it just, we will have some nonprofit?
Well, they had given us a number, but I think we said we'd talk more about the specifics.
Okay, just wanna.
But they had sent something like, out of the 35, 3 or 4 would
Be
be.
nonprofit.
Something be like North Reading Athletic Boosters, for instance, might have a banner there.
That's
or-
what I thought.
And also,
okay.
we might have banners for PTA, parent-teachers conferences at the high school, or whatever, soccer sign-up.
Public announcement.
Public announcements. They presented this proposal to us. They had and I've asked that they come in with a picture. They have a computer-generated picture that showed a few banners, maybe 5 or 6 or 7 or 8.
Yeah.
I've asked them to come with a picture of the complete grandstand with a computer-generated picture of what 35 banners would look like on the front of the grandstands. I believe the signs will be 3 by 5 banners. The athletic subcommittee voted unanimously to accept the proposal and to bring it to the school committee for a vote on December 6th, hopefully. One of the issues, I feel that it's covered under, but one of the issues is our policy. We have 2 policies. One of them which prohibits advertising on school property, and another one which is called, and I have it here somewhere, corporate business benefactor sponsorship, which was passed in 2004. The advertising policy goes back to 1987. What they're hoping to do is to raise $1,000 per sign per year. As part of this trial period, we recommended that in the December 2011 timeframe, that the program would be reviewed to determine, 1, is it successful? 2, what kind of reaction did we get from residents? What kind of reaction did we get from businesses? How much money did you raise? Did people think it was an eyesore? Did people not even notice it? And so they agreed to a December timeframe. I think we were talking about setting some parameters for the review, but then when we talked about it, basically it's what was the reaction of the town? Townspeople, athletes, fans at the games, parents, students, people from out of town. And so that would be reviewed in December of next year.
Yeah,
Jerry, you
interestingly enough, I mean, they refer to them as sponsorship banners.
Right.
And I think that may be semantics, but there is a distinction. I think if you were going to put these signs up for purely advertising purposes, they'd be in a much better place than where we plan on putting them. They're going to be at the bottom of the grandstand, as I understand it,
Yeah.
on that area that's below the
Which is
the
open right
elevated
now.
part of the
Right.
grandstand, which is open right now. So if it was purely for advertising purposes, I think that, they would want to put them either on the fences or someplace where you could see them much better than where they are. So for $1,000, it's kind of a sponsorship thing. It's a $1,000 donation, and you get your business name up there. And I'm not so naive as to think that wouldn't result in some advertising, but I think that calling it a sponsorship banner is not, deceptive or inappropriate either. I voted in favor of this at the subcommittee meeting, but I certainly felt that I wanted to hear my committee members, what they had to say. I've gotten a lot of calls when people have spoken to me about this, and some of them I respect very, very much in this community that are opposed to it. And I think the one thing that made me reconsider my position on it was that the Hillview had voted unanimously to do this, but they had, that they called it a pilot program, and so I guess that's why I'm willing to do it. I'm willing to try it for a year, see how it works out. see if it's successful. I personally, I'm not